Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot. The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by Media Clip, Advertech Printing, and Independent Photo Imagers.
Hello again, and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Andy Marcus of Fred Marcus Photography and president of the International Photographic Council. Hi, Andy. How are you today?
I'm good, Gary. How are you?
Great. So before we get into talking about IPC and its activities and functions, I'd like to first ask you more about, your history in the industry, right? Because it goes back many, many decades. So I want to kind of frame it in that, how you got started in the business.
That's an interesting story. Well, my dad started the business in 1941. It's an interesting story. He actually came from Germany right before the war got bad, and he was actually in a concentration camp for about 6 months. One of his employees, actually his dad's employees, they were in a garment business, ski wear business, and got him out, and he had 24 hours to leave the country. And those 24 hours, he packed up what he could. He was an amateur photographer. He had a Leica that he took with him and went to Cuba. He had to make a living. He was only supposed to be there for a couple of days. Turned out that he was there for 2 years, and he had to make a living. So he took his camera and went out to the beach, and there were a lot of other immigrants on the beach, the beaches of Cuba, and waiting to come to the United States. And he took pictures of them. At night, he'd go back to his small apartment, and in his bathroom, he would develop the pictures in his bathtub. He told me this whole story. Yeah. And the next day, he'd print them up, and bring them back to the beach and sell them. To make a long story short, he was there 2 years, as I said, came to the United States and found that a lot of the people he had photographed in Cuba were coming to the United States and settling in New York City. So he decided to go there. He located in an area that they were living on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. They found him. They called him for more photographs of their families. They loved his work. And then they had events in their lives, weddings, parties, whatever it may be. And he was the one they called. It was a small business. It was in a basement of a small apartment building. And my dad always hated when I said it was the basement. He said, no, it's the lower lobby. Because he wanted to raise the perception.
Sure.
But he was there, like I said, from 1941 to really like 3 or 4 years ago when we moved. I'll get into that. I was with him since 1971 when I graduated from college in New York. I had always helped him since I was 13 years old. And I was always his assistant. And little by little, by the time I was 17, I guess I was photographing weddings and parties. And little by little, our business seemed to grow. It started off at a pretty low level, but it grew and grew. And his reputation as a portrait photographer and really a master of lighting and working with children, amazing guy. And I just watched, listened, and learned, and I started doing it, and we began to grow. I can tell you a million stories about our business, but we wound up presently we're really all over the world. We're doing enormous weddings, portrait sittings. I was working with Donald Trump for about 15 years or so. Photographed one of his weddings, photographed his daughter's wedding, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner's wedding. We photographed LeBron James's wedding. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy. So there's a whole slew of these, and it became our name got out there. We were always very honest, very private. We never shared anything, although we were offered many times to, these magazines wanted photographs, gave us blank checks, never happened. And that got around, and people
respected the fact you showed discretion.
Exactly. And now today, my son is in the business, and he's been in the business probably about 15 years. He started out wanting to be in the movie business, went to California for 3 years. I told him, I'm not paying for this. You got to work, and I have friends in California. I said, you work for them and you make some money. And he did. And every few months I'd call, how you doing? And I'd call my friend, and he's terrific. He's now he's photographing weddings, and oh my God, the brides want him to come and meet with them. It turned out that he was making this guy a lot of money. So I called him. I said, do you really love California? Why don't you come back and work for us? So he said, I don't love California so much. I'm going to come back. And he came back, and he's been in the business doing amazingly well. He has a stellar reputation here in New York, very, very talented. And we put together a wonderful team of photographers, busy all the time.
Well, that sounds great. But so I love the family business angle. What is your son's name?
Brian.
Okay.
Brian.
Right. But we're here mostly to talk about IPC. For those who aren't familiar with IPC, can you share some of the history of their organization? Because it's been around a long time, and it's got kind of a very interesting history.
Yeah. IPC began 50 years ago, and it was started by a wonderful man, James Chung, who started this as a way for corporations, companies to get together and share their knowledge, honor photographers for their work. And this has been going, I've been involved for about probably, I'd say 10 or 12 years myself.
Right.
Jimmy was an amazing man.
Yes, everyone loved Jimmy Chung. He was a great man.
Great man, and he was a lot of fun to work with. Unfortunately, he passed away about a year ago, along with what was going on with the pandemic, and along with the fact that the United Nations, where we held all of our luncheons, was under a huge. Their dining room was under a huge reconstruction. Haven't been active for about 3 to 4 years. Could even be a little longer than that.
Yeah.
When Jimmy passed away, the one thing he forgot to leave everybody was his password to his computer. So we really started again last year from scratch.
So you have no access to any of the historical
anything. So he left a few papers, but basically we had nothing. So we built this up. I'm working with a fabulous executive board, Fred Lerner, Kathy Jello, Kathy McGrain, who's amazing with helping us with all our web stuff and social media. It's been an interesting ride. So we had a luncheon this past October.
First, before we get into that, can you talk a little bit about the mission of IPC?
Correct.
To, the reason why IP exists isn't just to have luncheons.
No. Believe me, it's not that. The food isn't that good. So, yes. Okay. So our mission is a mission, statement, so to speak, is peace through photography, the universal language.
Right.
Which I kind of love because it photographs to me are, obviously everybody has a different take on a particular photograph, but it does capture moments in time. And I think it's a wonderful, motto for our group. As a group, what we do, we try to raise money for scholarships for worthy students. And that's part of what we do. We're getting into now, we want to do exhibitions of photographers' work that has some sort of a universal appeal as far as peace in our world and showing conservation in our world, things like that. And along with that, we have brought in many corporations. All the major corporations have come and find that this is a wonderful thing that, we can get some sponsors and put this together and create this environment where people can thrive.
And it is a nonprofit. It is a,
it's a nonprofit. None of us work for any money. It's kind of like my business. It didn't start out that way, my business, but
So, I mean, that's an aspect to it, is that I think it would be helpful for people to know that this is not a for-profit enterprise. It's a nonprofit. So that's, important, I think, for people to know if they want to get involved. It is going to benefit the industry and benefit students and hopefully make the world a little more peaceful. I think that's probably the way we want to look at it.
we're looking at honoring people. And then furthermore, all right, the other thing that we do once a year, we get recommendations from the different companies. So in other words, we go to a camera company, Sony, Canon, whatever, and say, listen, here's our mission. I want you to recommend 2 or 3 photographers and nominate them. And we want to give them an achievement award,
Right.
photographic achievement award. That's been going on for the last probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
We're going from APA to ASMP to PPA to WPPI to White House press photographers. It's really, and all of these organizations now are very into this, and it's become a wonderful thing. So we get these nominations. We select as a group one of the people, and they get this award. They will get an award at the ceremony during luncheon. Furthermore, we also have we designate a keynote speaker. This past October, we had Neil Manowitz, who is the president of Sony Electronics, and a wonderful man, gave a wonderful keynote. And I think everybody was very impressed by his words. We also had, we have the UN involved because this is held at the UN. We made a strong effort I made to get the Secretary General of the United Nations Global Projects to come and speak to us. And she was amazing, did an amazing job speak. People were so impressed and touched by her words.
And so who was this person? Who is the UN representative?
The woman we had was the Undersecretary General of the United Nations, Melissa Fleming, and she's the Undersecretary General of Global Communications.
Great.
She came to our luncheon, spoke absolutely beautifully. I think everybody was touched by her words, and I'm going to try very, very hard to get her back again for this coming luncheon that we're having. So, it's having all these things, having these people come, looking at their work, and trying to get a different take on this. I don't want to get the same old photographers. I don't want to get the president of this organization or that organization, which when Jimmy was there, it was kind of easy for the organizations to just say, our president will be the one we're nominating. I don't want that. I want to get real deal photographers. This year, we started a new category of an award, environmental award, and we're giving it to Benjamin Von Wong. And he is a young man who does environmental photography. What he does is take plastics and take junk out of the oceans and create sculptures and then photographs them.
Okay.
He was just at the economic conference in Davos, Switzerland. He had images. I saw images of his being projected all over the country. He does amazing things and has a zillion followers. I mean, literally, I think he has something like 100 million followers or something. It's a crazy number. And so he's going to be there. And he used to live in California, moved to New York, and now has a place in New York. So he's going to be there for the luncheon. Okay. And this year, we're also honoring as the major honorary Lifetime Achievement Award to Douglas Kirkland, who a lot of people know as an amazing, portrait photographer, Hollywood photographer. He's kind of a legend. And his wife, Francoise, will be doing the keynote for us.
Yeah, he passed in 2022, I think. But he was known for a lot of the really classic kind of celebrity portraits from the golden age and beyond.
Every day I learn more. And he was one of the biggest celebrity photographers, very involved, Marilyn Monroe and Bridget Bardot. I mean, he had a good life.
And so obviously it's a posthumous award, and his
Yes,
wife is going to be the keynote speaker. His widow, I
that is
should say, is going to be the
yes.
keynote speaker. Will any of his work be on display?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What's up, podcasters? Ever feel like you're lost in the vast world of podcasting, just searching for that magic formula to grow your show? You've been trying social platforms, spamming communities, and probably even some random Facebook ads. I want to introduce to you the Pod Central Strategy Kit. Imagine having a toolkit that can completely change your podcast journey. You get templates for marketing, a bulletproof content strategy, and irresistible offers that keep your audience coming back. You can get the free Pod Central Strategy Kit on my Instagram at Chris Podcasting.
Yes, we're going to have his work on display. We're going to have his work. You'll start to see this now on our website, ipcphoto.org. We are going to be even having a little auction of some of his photographs and some of his books that he has out. He has several books out. So we're going to do that as a way to also raise some money for the organization.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so, like you said, it's scholarships, right? I mean, that's part of what you haven't really started with the exhibitions and things yet, but you are starting with scholarships. You provided already a couple of scholarships last year, even though it was your first year back, you were able to provide for the scholarship. Can you talk a little bit about what the qualifications are for the James L. Chung Memorial Scholarship?
Okay, so what we want is to approach photography schools, and this past luncheon we used School of Visual Arts, and we asked them if they would provide us with names of a couple of people that they thought were worthy of getting scholarship.
Sure.
We vet their work, invite them to the luncheon. We present them with a scholarship, that they actually the scholarship goes to the school, and the school uses it to pay their tuition. I don't want them to go out, take their family.
Right, exactly. It's a scholarship, not a party fund.
Yeah, exactly. So we gave it to the school. School, disperses it for their tuitions and whatever. So so we're gonna, we started with them. We're gonna wind up going to other schools as well. And as we grow, we can give out even more scholarships. And it's, exhibitions are a little more difficult because we like to have them at the UN, but the UN has amazingly difficult compliance issues that it can take a year and a half before you get permission to do anything. So
plus it's not easy even just to walk in. I mean, that you just to go into the UN, there's a security checkpoint, and there's
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
it's not like going to the mall where you walk through.
Yeah, it's not like going to the Museum of Natural History. You're just, where you walk in. This is no, there is security, there's such, but we've had exhibitions in the past, and it's nice because we invite the Secretary General in. We had a anniversary party. I think it was the 40th anniversary, and we brought a big cake, and there was a whole ceremony in the lobby. It was very nice, and the exhibition was up for quite a few months. So and we provide all of that. So we make the prints, and our some of our sponsors, whether it be Epson or Hewlett Packard, would make the prints, and they get
Sure
credit for all that.
So there's no limit then on the number of scholarships you can provide, right? I mean, right now you're providing 2, but it could be more.
Yes, of course, and it's only monetarily what we can afford to do. I don't feel we're giving out dozens. I want it to be special, so we would give out a few every year. That would be a goal, but we'll see how that works out as we go along.
So if someone wanted to contribute to IPC to support it, what are the mechanisms for that? Can they donate to the scholarships directly? Do they become an IPC member? Do they sponsor an event? How does that all work?
Basically, if you want to become a member, there is no cost at this time. You can just join by going to the website, signing in, and you would receive all the notices, et cetera, of any events and what we're doing. So that's the easy part, and I invite anybody who would like to join and find out more about us to go to our website and sign up. You can also see on the website some of the previous the winners that have received awards. it's a good place to get an overview of what's going on with us.
And that website is ipcphoto.org.
Correct. Yeah. When you go onto the website, you'll see, first of all, a page where you can sign up to come to our luncheon. That's the first part. We also are always looking for sponsors. So a lot of the organizations do like to give us a sponsorship, not asking for, thousands and thousands of dollars, but, every little bit counts. And again, the more sponsorships that we have, the more I can do as far as we can do as far as
Right.
Providing scholarships to people. That's where we are. The luncheon, unfortunately, is a big cost to us. So, I mean, you can buy tickets for the luncheon, but we try to at least recoup the luncheon cost, and then anything after that would go to sponsorship. Go to scholarships.
And once again, I don't think we've actually mentioned the exact date and the time for the luncheon. Can you share that?
This is very important if you want to come. Luncheon is going to be on May 15th, this coming May 15th of 24. It is held actually, which is really I'm always impressed going there. It's held at the Delegates Dining Room at the United Nations. And last year, which was our first year back after 4 years, I think my executive board weren't expecting more than 50 or 60 people, and we ended up having over 150 people.
Right.
It really is a wonderful time. What we do at the luncheon actually is we have a hour before, we have a little cocktail meet and greet thing, which turned out to be what we heard the most about after the event, that this was the best thing that we could do. And all these companies, all their representatives, everybody kind of mingled and talked and had the best time, didn't even want it to end. So this year we're going to try to make it a little bit longer, give people what they want, so I want to have that, because that's really what it's all about, putting it,
As great as Zoom is, there's nothing like a face-to-face meeting.
100%, and everybody totally enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a great luncheon, a lot of good feedback.
Now it's scheduled for 11:30 to 3 p.m. So you'd recommend getting there on time to take advantage of the networking, because it does start at 11:30.
And also keep in mind the security that you have to go through. So I tell people, you should get there probably, quarter to 11 or, 11 o'clock, get through the security, get up to the dining room and have some fun meeting everybody in the industry that you only hear about and never meet, so.
Yeah, I have had the honor of going to IPC meetings back in the day, and it is a process to get into the UN. It's
but not a bad one. It's
it's like going to an airport. It's not bad.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Good. Except you don't have to take your shoes off. That's the
well, there you go. It's a benefit. Awesome. Listen, Eddie, it's great talking to you today about IPC and, of course, your business, Fred Marcus Photography. Again, where can people go for more information to participate in IPC, or just go get more information? Where is the best place to go?
I would say go to our website, ipcphoto.org. Anybody can also write, you can write to me, Andy Marcus at ipcphoto.org. And happy to answer any questions or give you any more information that you would like. Hope to see everybody there.
Yes, hope to see you in May in New York City.
That would be wonderful, Gary. Thank you so much for the time.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.